First, tell me about how hard of a decision was this to make at this point in your career? You got a lot of years under your belt here at BSU, and how difficult of a decision was this?
Well, it probably wasn't as difficult as some people might think because of the fact that it has been such a great experience for the last 30 years in the college profession, the last 24 at Bemidji State. It's just been so much fun. No regrets, nothing like that. It was just a wonderful tenure, full of just great memories and so forth. And it just became the time where it's like, all right, hey, I did this thing. Mission accomplished, and let's move on to a different chapter.
Sure. Million memories, I'm sure, over the years. Anything that really sticks out as you look back at your career?
Oh, there's so many. A lot of great memories of just the coaching staff, kind of behind the scenes memories. And a lot of those memories took place just in position meetings with the players. But if you think about the homecoming games in particular, and having all the alumni come back, and having the parents of their players there, and the community involved, and then all the times we jumped in the lake, and the dramatic victories, those are kind of some of the memories that certainly stick out because nobody else got to experience those types of memories. If you're a college coach, you don't get to have that. But at Bemidji State, we do. And so those were a lot of the fun memories. Early on, getting the program turning around and seeing so much pride from our alumni, that was very, very rewarding. Just the following that we started to have. And everywhere you went, you would finally see Bemidji State football gear and just that overall pride again that the alumni showed. That sticks out too a little bit in my mind. Mm-hmm. The interaction with the alumni.
Take me through how big of a challenge this turnaround was when you came in and how proud you are of where it's grown to.
Well, that's again part of the factors in deciding that this was a good time to go was that the program is in very good shape. It's very well respected. People know they're going to be in for it when they see Bemidji State on the schedule and so forth. But early on, wow, was it ever something. I know Bemidji State went through a period of 12 years without a winning season. And for 10 of those 12 years, they never won more than 2 games. So it was very difficult. And I'll never forget in 1998 when we went 6-4, and it was the first winning season in over a decade. Just the excitement. And then we went on a nice run for 10 straight years without a losing season. And as a matter of fact, if you look back in the past 22 years, we've had 19 winning seasons. So there haven't been too many bad days at the office, so to speak. It's been a lot of fun and very rewarding.
A lot of work to make that happen. What do you credit to being able to turn around a program that was in such low level at that point to where you have it now as one of the strong contenders every year in the conference?
Yeah, it took a lot of people. It wasn't going to be just one thing. But really, I think what turned it around was Coach Tesh instituted a recruiting philosophy that was very different than what anybody else was doing in the Northern Sun at that time, in the early 90s. And then he developed a culture that helped retain players. So once we were the most aggressive recruiting staff back then, and then once we got them on campus, the culture was starting to become established where we're going to treat people right. And so the kids stayed, and that was kind of the catalyst to getting it all turned around. And then actually, that's also one of the reasons why it's still going strong the way it is today.
The wins and losses are obviously very important, but the way you impact these students who come in as 18-year-olds, a lot of times, sometimes a little older than that, and then you see them leave 4 or 5 years later, how much of an impact on your life has that made?
Oh, well, a lot. What's interesting is a lot of college coaches, because they take a job, work a year or two, leave, take a job, work a year or two, leave, and they continue to work up the ladder professionally. They don't get to experience what I have, and that's exactly what you mentioned too. Start recruiting these kids when they're 17 years old, and they're pretty much clueless on where they're going in life. Then you watch them come in as redshirt freshmen and still just trying to figure things out. And Eventually, they get it turned around and they start to develop as football players, and then they start to get the academics figured out, and then they get their life plans in order, and they get their education and get a degree, and then you get to watch that all happen. You get to see from coming in start to finish. But even more importantly than that, again, comes down to homecoming. When those guys come back years later, again, because I've been here for so long, I've got to have experienced that for years and years and years and years. Homecoming is when our boys come home, and that's what our wife, that's what my wife Sherry refers to it as. Which of our boys are coming home, and then you get to see them as successful men, as successful fathers, as successful husbands, and that's where it really becomes rewarding. And I always feel very grateful that I've had that opportunity, because a lot of college coaches don't even get to see that. They may recruit a kid and never see them graduate, and we get to see them graduate in life, and that's very rewarding.
Mm-hmm. The coaching aspect of it, as far as the time-consuming nature of the job now, people may not realize it's not a matter of coaching just August through November and then recruiting a little bit. It's really turned into almost a year-round job now for a coach, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it has to be that way to be successful. Mm-hmm. Here we are in the off season, and we were in the Fred Baker working out at 5:30 this morning, and there is a lot of time constraints. And for the past 30 years, that's the only life that I and my wife and even our family has ever known. And so it's not like it was anything of a surprise that, what this is all about. Yeah, we get it. But we are definitely looking forward to a different chapter and some time away from work and spend a little more time with family. Well, actually, a lot more time with family.
And that's the main reason at this point for your decision. Have you been mulling this for a while, or is this something that you just kind of decided after the season was over?
Well, the thought of that someday this day was going to come. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, after this season, it was such a rewarding season all the way around, and especially the way it ended. And we had these incredible dramatic wins that we had that were very improbable. And even to the last game of the season, we go to Minot State, which is where I started my college career, and we finish with a record-setting day. And Mikey Junker has 2 interceptions and is named All-American and scores a touchdown on his last play of his college career, one of my players. And the next morning at breakfast, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel. But I looked at my wife and I was just like, wow, can you believe how everything just went down? It was like it was almost perfect. Mm-hmm. But the decision is based strictly for family. I'm at the age now where I would like to spend more time with my parents, my wife's parents. We have 2 kids that have started families, so we have 4 grandkids. My son lives in Arizona, my daughter lives in Iowa, and it's going to be a lot more enjoyable just to have some time to spend with them. So it really is all about family. Mm-hmm. And for me, it really is about rewarding my wife. She's been the consummate coach's wife for 30 years. And again, that's the only life she's ever known, because we got married and I started college coaching that year. And so it's all we've ever known. But now it's an opportunity for me to pay it forward to her and say, okay, my career has always come first, my schedule, my timeline. Beaver football has always been the epicenter of which our family life has rotated. Now it's her turn, and she has some dreams and aspirations and different things that she's kind of put on hold, and now we're going to see if we can't make those happen.
How difficult of a decision has this been for you?
Well, it's been so rewarding. It's been such a rewarding experience dealing with these kids, and that's what I'm going to miss the most. I'm going to miss the kids. I think a lot of people would think that college football is all about Saturdays, and that was never the case for me. For me, it was more Monday through Friday, and preparing those kids and working with those guys. I mean, I loved going to meetings. I loved the interaction that would take place in our meetings, because that's when I got to know their personalities. And I got to see them as, not number 32 or a player on the team. I got to see them as young men. And that's what I'm really going to miss, is that interaction. But again, I can walk away because I feel so good about the time that I had. And, again, I didn't leave anything on the table. And it was nothing but wonderful memories. As I look back, it's just going to be nothing but smiles and feeling good about the entire time as a college coach.
Something to be said about leaving on your terms too.
Well, that just happened. Sure. It's nice to go out this way. This year was, of all the years that I've coached, I've never been more proud of a staff that I've been on and what we accomplished this year, because the adversity that we had to face was off the charts. And there was plenty of Sundays where we're in the office going, how did we just do that? Like, I can't believe we won that game. Homecoming was almost miraculous. And for our family and our fans and everybody to be a part of that was really, really special. So once again, it just seems like, maybe a little bit of destiny that this is the time to go.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to say to Beaver fans and former players and coaches out there?
Well, I just am so grateful. I guess if there's one word, I'm just grateful to be a part of Beaver football. And the alumni really mean a lot to me. I love all the different eras that have come through and that I've got to meet. Chet Anderson used to sit in my office and draw X's and O's up on the grease board and so forth. And I'm just very grateful to be a part of a family, from the players to their families, like their parents. We really develop a relationship there, to the other coaches, all the coaches. We're talking about having a coaches reunion next summer. And we started looking through the different number of guys, and I told Coach Tesh, I've already sent out 70 contacts in my phone that have coached with us. Can you believe that? So the coaches and the players, their families, and the alumni, and then all the fans, and everybody associated with Bemidji and Bemidji State University. It's just been the absolute greatest experience of my life, and I'm very grateful.